Hi, welcome to City Grow Live, where we talk about anything that helps bring customers back. I'm John Parrish. We've got Channing here today with us, our guru from the upstairs.
Thank you.
You're a guru from the whole building.
Yeah, thanks.
Our whole building guru. We're chatting digital waivers today.
Yes.
Which is an awesome subject because they've really they've really just been a healthy part of the ecosystem for us lately.
Absolutely.
And we'll get into why. But Channing, I know you build a ton of these. This is how I was hoping to structure the conversation if it works for you. Wanted to kind of talk about the benefits of digital waivers.
Okay.
Why go digital? What does that mean to go digital? Then I want to talk a lot about regulations. I think that's the main core topic today is what are the regulations? Are they just as good as your paper waivers?
Right.
That kind of stuff. And then I want to talk a little bit about some marketing applications of why and how you can use waivers to bring customers back.
Yeah.
Sound good? Sound like a game plan?
That's great to me.
So I'll let you take it from here. Let's talk about some of the benefits. Why are people going digital?
Absolutely. So, I mean, some of these benefits, I think the first one that comes to mind when I think of digital is physical storage. I know that it can be very cumbersome to have paper documents, in just a lot of ways. I mean, just the storage of itself.
Filing them away and
I mean, the cost of the space they take up, even if you're storing them at your location, I mean, it costs money to store it. So I mean, going along with that physical storage, I mean, it's easier to search them. So that's another huge thing is the ability to actually access them.
So the dyslexic people like myself don't have to arrange them alphabetically.
Exactly. And the other issue is if someone accidentally, misorders it. I mean, there's just so much that goes into having to manually file things, and all you have to do is just type in a name or a phone number or something like that, and
search the database.
Seconds.
Yeah.
And so that also leads into accessibility for your customers. So if a customer requests a copy, anything like that, super easy for you, not time consuming, and it's just available. Another huge thing, it's cleaner and legible. I mean, you just see so many people's handwriting, especially if they're trying to write on a clipboard. I mean, just all these different things. When people are filling out digital waivers, you can actually read what they've put in. So it's very
no typos.
Yeah. Well, there could be typos.
Less typos.
And you can just read it better. It's more legible. It's a better document in reality. And not only that, but that kind of goes with, as they're filling out these things in a digital form, because it's not on paper, it's actually in a digital thing, you can actually store that information and use it for things like marketing purposes, obviously with permission and stuff, but it gives you that option. And then, two other kind of things is, one, it's eco-friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, it is eco-friendly.
Good for the environment and good for your wallet.
Exactly, and it often is cheaper to have digital, because you keep it, with the digital, you're usually getting the whole package. You're actually getting the digital waiver, you're getting your storage, you're getting access to it, and usually you'd have to pay for all that separately when you're doing it with paper.
I'm sold.
Right? I'm a huge advocate of
well,
digital waivers.
And again, that's one of our favorite parts about digital waivers is it just makes so much sense. I mean, these go right along with like digital applications. I guess we kind of look at them the same thing. Digital applications, forms, waivers, which we don't have one right in front of us, which was our mistake. We should have brought one.
That's true.
Give me a visual idea of what is a digital waiver. What does it look like?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a digital waiver can look exactly like your paper waiver. Okay. I mean, you can have it. You can upload a PDF of your physical waiver, and it is right there.
Okay.
And so you could fill it out as the same. The other nice thing is you can even tailor it a little bit more if you want to look better, on a digital format, and it would be fluid. But it can look anything like you want it to be.
Yeah. The nice thing about that too, being digital, another benefit I guess is you can change it anytime you want.
Yes.
You didn't just print out 10,000 of them and you have to wait till you get through all of them to change it. But if you need to add something like when people convert their waivers digitally with us, I don't know about you, you're probably expert on this, but what I see most of the time is they have to add certain things like consent to text people or consent to email that they just didn't think about when they made their original waiver.
Right.
So that it really helps it being digital that you can change it anytime you want.
No, and that's exactly
tons of benefits.
That is a huge benefit of you can update it at will.
Yeah.
So if something comes up, you're no longer a couple $100 out because you've had these things. and wasted it. I mean, so it's very nice.
So tell me about different ways to sign digital waivers while we're talking about benefits. So you obviously could plug it into a website and have customers sign before they come in. You could do it in store.
Yep.
We do a lot of stuff with kiosks, iPad kiosks. We have an iPad app where you can just right there in like a showroom environment or right when they're walking in, maybe on your countertop, have an iPad there where people just fill it out real fast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you basically named them. You know, you can embed it on a website. You know, so they actually fill out on the website. You could have a link on your website. You can send text messages, emails to people with a link that they can visit and fill it out.
So they can do it on their mobile phone, fill
Absolutely.
it all there.
And that's the other thing. You know, if you actually have like a link on your website, people can actually be in store, and if they're if people are sitting around, and you might have a kiosk or several, but there's a lot of high volume. People can pull it up and fill it out on their phone, and that way when they get up to a kiosk, they're just checking in.
So I've seen this actually, and we've done it quite a bit. I've seen it really work really well in an environment where it was at a university. They had 4 iPads that were just there at any time where people could come fill out an application to be a part of a program. Right? On the day of the opening of the application, that line was so busy.
Yeah.
What they did is they just put out a big poster that said "skip the line." And then they text a keyword, and it automatically responded with the waiver. And so people were doing it right there on their mobile phone. From that point, anyone who's not familiar with kind of how digital waivers work, you sign it, it goes into a database. So for us, you just go to citygrow.com, you log in, and now everyone that signed the waivers is all right there. So they can either show their phone, like a completion page on their phone that was done, or it'll just go right to the admin portal where they can look it up and say, oh yeah, you signed the waiver, you're good to go.
And absolutely, and what is even a better process of that is they fill out that waiver and then they go through the check-in process. But the check-in process, they're actually skipping the waiver. So if there's like a line and stuff like that, and this also actually saves money and resources, because instead of you're like, oh, I have a couple peak hours, kind of thing, and I mean I could really use 10 iPads right then, but regularly I only need 2 or 4.
Just go buy 10 iPads.
Yeah, buy 10 iPads. Okay, why not? But in reality, I mean, you have people bringing iPads into your store.
Yeah.
A smartphone. So, if you did have like that, like use text, kind of keyword in, people can fill it out, and then when they get to the kiosk, they're just typing in, checking in, see if they have offers and stuff like that. But not only do you get to record that they checked in, because that's very important for you too, but they're done. They feel like they've been doing something. They haven't just been sitting in line waiting.
Yeah.
It feels like a process, and
by the time they get up there, they're done, and now their process of checking in with you is quick.
Yeah, exactly. So if for some of our customers, if they feel like, oh, well, I can't really do digital waiver because I don't want to have like a ton of iPads, stuff because I do have peak hours, this is actually another way to operate. You can use what people are bringing in.
Yeah, use their phones, have them do it ahead of time on their computers, or do it right there.
Advertise it ahead of time.
Yep. Yeah, we could go on and on about benefits. It really is just, it makes sense, right?
It does.
Well, so since the point of this, and I don't want to go too long on benefits, let's move on to the whole point of what we kind of got here for today, which is regulations.
Sure.
I think there's a misnomer that says, hey, I'm covered on my digital waiver, or my paper waivers are so covered. Is there the same coverage on digital waivers? Are they just as good legally as paper waivers?
Right.
What would you say?
And to start out, the answer is yes.
Okay.
They are just as legitimate. It's the Electronic Signatures in Global and National Commerce Act.
The e-sign Act.
The e-sign Act, as it's better known. And that was passed in June 30th, 2000.
So
it's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, we're coming up on 2 decades.
Yeah.
And
break that down. What are the main points of the e-sign Act?
Absolutely. First off, the biggest thing that the e-sign Act said was digital signatures are just as valid as signing on a piece of paper. That's the overall thing. They're just as valid. Now there are some requirements that kind of go with that, with the e-sign Act. So they said yes, they're just as valid, but you do have to provide customers in a kind of environment for certain things. So first off, what the people are signing has to accurately reflect the substance of what's going on. as well as it has to be unalterable in an unalterable format.
Okay.
So what they're signing, more or less, we like to think of them as PDFs often. Like it has to be filled out in a way that when it's filled out, it's
complete.
It's complete.
So it's the idea is they're not signing something and then you can digitally go change.
Yeah, exactly. What we do here at City Grow is we actually convert it into a PDF.
Okay.
So when people fill it out, it's then taken as a snapshot. It's a PDF. It's locked. Yeah. That is a final document, and so that's why it's unalterable. So
how do I know as a consumer that City Grow is not tampering with that document?
There's several ways. We actually also have a way for people to check. Waiver, verify. Yeah. What do we call that again?
Yeah, so it's how they verify the authentication.
The authentication, yes, that's what it was. You can check the authentication, the whole authenticity of it. There's a little thing, so.
Yeah, so the cool thing about that is anytime when you first sign a document, it hashes a number that's a unique number to that document.
Right.
And you could go 10 years later and go to your admin portal, upload that document, and see that it hasn't been tampered with.
Right.
It'll tell you this is the original. A couple other ways that we confirm that this is the original document is as soon as that document's signed, it gets sent directly to the customer.
Right.
So obviously if that one doesn't match up with what was sent to the admin or stored in the account, something's been going on there. You'll need to upload it and see which one's the authentic one. So yeah, a couple different ways. So we kind of go above and beyond what the protocol is.
Yeah, because that's actually not required.
It's not. No.
It does have to be accessible. That is something that is required. It does have to be accessible.
Yeah.
If you actually look at the act, accessible is kind of it has to be available to customers.
Yeah.
So if they request it, you have to be able to get it to them. Which also means that the document has to be, I believe, has the ability to be accurately reproduced. Mm-hmm. Is the correct way of saying that. So digital waivers, it's amazing. You can email them. You can print them.
You can log into a customer account and just see that it's there.
Exactly. You can view them on your portal. If there's a customer portal, people can just view them. They're amazing. So they're so much easier than just having to scan a document. No, that's a benefit. We're done there.
No benefits onto regulations.
The other thing is you have to retain the document for an amount of time. So we talked about that about the storage thing. That's the same concept. It depends on your industry, market industry, all that kind of stuff, but you have to keep it for a certain amount of time.
So that's a really important clarification to make based on the industry comment you just made. The e-Sign Act doesn't specifically change any rules or legalities of waivers.
Right.
If you're a dentist, you have to comply with all of the dental regulations just as you would on paper.
Yep.
Whereas if you're filling applications out at a bounce house or a shooting range or things, you might have different applications. And different laws might require a different amount of time that you have to store those files. The e-Sign Act doesn't touch it. In fact, it specifically says we don't affect those. All they're saying is that you can do it digitally just like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you clarified that. So it just means that everything that applies to paper and physical documents applies to digital.
Over. Cool.
So, if you feel confident on the rules of your paper things, just know that the same rules apply to your digital. I guess two other things that are very important to know is that your customer must consent to using their digital signature, which means there needs to be a checkbox or somewhere where they actually state that they are allowing their digital signature. You cannot assume that someone, even if they sign it, that's not an assumption.
So your digital waiver company should be handling this for you.
Sure. Yes,
I know we do it. As soon as you complete the document, as a part of submitting it, you have to check the box to agree with the customer disclosures, and then you can click on that and obviously see all the disclosures right there. But they should be handling this for you.
And this is just more. That's just telling you kind of what a regulation is, and just check. It's always good to keep companies honest. So you can check and look at if you're using a waiver system. Am I asked somewhere? It's just kind of a thing. So
make sure it does.
The one last thing is just be aware, customers under this act, customers can actually request a paper document. They can refuse to sign a digital, but the caveat to that is you can charge a fee. Yeah. Fees can be included if someone requires that.
Yeah.
So just be aware. Most people, it's not a problem. I know for me, I would prefer it in digital. But if someone does request it, know that it is actually within your right to charge a fee to that, because it is extra money. Like you have provided a waiver, and if they don't like that, then you can provide a paper, but you can charge for the cost of that. So you're at least you can recoup those costs. So
and to be honest, I've never seen it happen that somebody's reached out.
No.
But if they do, then
I that was actually something that I was just like, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Why would anyone do that? But just so you know,
they can.
They can.
Okay, so we talked about the benefits. We talked about regulations, and I think you've covered them nicely. I can't think of anything that you've left out specifically. Let's talk a little bit about the marketing application to waivers. I mean, obviously, the whole goal of CityGrow is to help bring customers back.
Right.
Some people will kind of look at it and say, well, how does waivers or registration forms fit in with bringing customers back?
Right.
How do they?
Well, information is king, right? So the more information that you have, the better you understand your customers, and the better you can tailor to their needs through your marketing efforts. Honestly, one of the things that we've realized, and you kind of mentioned at the very beginning, how waivers are becoming such a big part of our ecosystem here, is because when people are filling out waivers, it is such an opportunity for you to get to know your customers. Yeah. And we have not only this waiver ability for you, but we have a marketing ability. And so what you can do is you can look at this information, and you can say, you can get from basic information, because you have to do that for the waiver.
Right.
You can even ask other questions. I mean, you can be like, are you a member or are you not a member? So I mean, right there, you're splitting up your customers into two groups, which you can segment and actually like target non-members and target members. Different offers, messages, events. So I mean, you can really break down your customers.
You just get so much data from that.
Yeah, and people they're giving it to you. First off, now they do have to consent to being reached out, through text messages and email and whatever. And most people do, to be honest. Like if they feel like, oh, I want to come back, kind of thing, and you will have offers for me to entice me. Yeah, sure, I'll let you use that information to entice me back.
Yeah, I think the stats we usually see are between 60 and 80% of your customers, if incentivized to communicate, will receive that communication. When they sign your waiver, they'll check that box.
Absolutely. And if you see it dropping below that, usually means that you're not enticing them well. You're not using the data you have to entice them.
Yeah, good point. That 68% is kind of the goal.
Yeah, it is a goal.
I guess if you just stuck it out there and didn't incentivize them or anything, you might see more like 20 or 30%. But
exactly,
we've seen that ability.
And so that's kind of like the big thing is you can segment your customers, you can understand your customers better, and also allows you to track behavior. And this goes again, it's going back to understanding your customers. But by filling out waivers, you can add information in there. Of likes, dislikes. I mean, you can even, when people have to fill out waivers, it helps to always have a system where they're checking in on it. Right. So then you can track how often are they visiting. Not only that, but it allows you to get people to come back to see things, kind of thing. Like if you fill out a waiver, you can be like, oh, we need to check your waiver, to make sure everything's up to date. And so when they view that again, they're checking it, which gives you information, and also gives you up-to-date information, like if they moved and other things like that.
Yeah, it's just such a natural way to collect that information. I mean, anytime you're building a relationship, I almost compare this all over to dating. At some point, if you want to maintain that relationship, you've got to ask for their number or contact information.
Absolutely.
Or, can I contact you again?
Yep.
And this just becomes a really natural way where every person's asked. Doesn't mean every person's going to say yes, but every person's asked. You don't have to worry about that. It's natural. It just works.
And that's the beautiful thing. Summarize everything about our waiver system is it just flows. It works. Like it feels natural. Like you're here. Oh, hey, we have waivers. Fill this out. Oh, it's easy. It's on the thing. It looks clean. Oh, I can have access to it. That's wonderful. Oh, you have now you understand it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, okay, so to cap off this discussion on bringing customers back, let's just walk through kind of maybe a common scenario of how you can see how your waivers might work with messaging platform. So a customer comes in, let's say they're going to a bounce house.
Okay.
The bounce house offers memberships where you can come in as many times as you want, or maybe a gym or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm just trying it out for free. So I come in, I sign my waiver because I have to. Mm-hmm. When I leave, let's say I consented to receiving information because I'm interested in getting more information from you. When I leave, I might get a text that says, "How was your visit today?" If I respond good, I might get a follow-up text that says, would be interested in getting information on membership?
Right.
And they say yes, so I get an email about memberships. Well, then I forget about it, which people often do. They go in, they get busy, they forget to come back. 3 weeks later, the system recognizes that there was no check-in,
Right.
so it sends another
Right.
incentive to come back. Hey, we haven't seen you for a while. Here's a buy one get one free. Bring somebody else.
Yeah.
Then I come again because I liked it. I sign up for membership. Once again, they can say bring friends.
Right.
Now that they see that you just kind of see how it escalates, and it can go 100 directions
And
from there.
one thing I just also wanted just to bring up right there, which is I think really important as well, is waivers make more people's check in. Because like if I went and I brought you with me and we were like someplace that didn't have waivers, and I'm buying for you, when I purchase it, I just would get the points or whatever, and I'd check in. But if I brought you along and we went to the bounce house, and we were really gonna jump crazy, I can see us doing that. I can see us doing that. Right? You go.
We should do it
Good.
today.
Shit. So we
Let's
would
get
go.
out of here. Shut this down.
Each other's over. But we would show up, and not only would I sign up and they'd have my information, but because there's a waiver involved, you would have to sign it too. So now, not do they just have my data, but they also now have yours as well.
Yeah.
And maybe you are interested in hearing about it, kind of a thing. And so it just opens up the avenue of naturally asking people to give you their information.
Yeah. There's so much strategy we could talk about. We could do it all day. Maybe that should be our next topic.
Maybe.
Is the strategy of carrying out or bringing people back through waivers.
Sure.
But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much, Channing.
That was my pleasure.
For jumping on here with us or with me. I really enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please write in. We do this every week. Every Thursday we go live, and then we record them. You can watch them after the fact on our website or on Facebook. Make sure you follow us so you know when they're coming, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being here with us. Don't forget to check out our other videos and like and subscribe to our Facebook channel so that you can see what we're up to. We'd love to get more information out there to you. Also, we've got podcasts available on iTunes, so check them out. We hope to see you there.